Ambassador Alina Reyes felt the chill emanating from the crystalline chamber even before the council's verdict came. 17 alien representatives looked down from their elevated platforms, their inhuman features revealing nothing of their thoughts. The only human in the vast hall, she stood straight-backed on the petitioner's circle, refusing to show weakness. "The council has deliberated," announced the Jantari delegate, primary tentacles rippling in formal patterns. "Humanity's application for membership is denied." Alina had prepared for this possibility, but the unanimous rejection stung nevertheless. "May I ask on what grounds?" The Quarrel representative's translator device emitted a series of clicks before rendering its message. "Your species demonstrates unacceptable developmental instabilities. Your technological progression lacks proper philosophical foundation." "We have met every technological benchmark," Alina countered, keeping her voice level. "Our environmental restoration efforts are commendable but insufficient," interrupted the Myriad Collective, their shared consciousness speaking through a hovering orb. "Humanity's propensity for conflict remains statistically anomalous." The council leader's voice resonated throughout the chamber. "The matter is decided, but there is a second motion to address." Alina felt a flutter of unease. This wasn't part of the expected protocol. Given humanity's unpredictable development trajectory and historical volatility, this council moves to establish a containment barrier around Sol's system. All in favor. One by one, the alien representatives signaled assent, their voting gestures creating patterns of light across the chamber floor. Alina watched in growing horror as unanimous agreement materialized before her eyes. "This is unprecedented," she protested. "Containment is reserved for hostile species, not applicants." "It is precisely that attitude which necessitates these measures," said the Jantari delegate. "You will be provided details of permitted activities within your containment zone. This session is concluded." Numb with shock, Alina was escorted back to the Earth diplomatic vessel by silent alien attendants. Captain Marcus Chen waited on the bridge, his expression darkening as she relayed the council's decision. "Containment," he repeated. "They're quarantining Earth. They're calling it developmental oversight," Alina said bitterly. "Their ships are already moving into position." Chen pulled up the tactical display. 8 council enforcement vessels were establishing a perimeter at strategic points throughout the solar system. "This isn't oversight," he muttered. "It's a blockade." Alina handed him a data crystal. "There's more. During the deliberations, I managed to access some restricted communications." Her voice dropped. "Some council members advocated for preemptive measures, their term for military intervention, should Earth develop technologies they consider destabilizing." "Which technologies?" "Anything that would allow us to bypass their monitoring network. Dimensional physics, certain types of AI research, advanced quantum mechanics." She met his gaze. "They're not just containing us, Marcus. They're preparing for eventual elimination if we don't remain docile." Chen's jaw tightened. "Earth needs to know." The return journey was tense as council observers monitored their every move. When they finally reached Earth orbit, the magnitude of the situation became clear. News of the rejection had leaked, and protests erupted across major cities worldwide. In Geneva, the United Earth Defense Council convened an emergency session. Alina presented her findings to grim-faced officials. "We have perhaps 20 years before their containment becomes something worse," she concluded. Defense Director Amara Okafor stood. "Then we need alternatives immediately. Captain Chen, I want you to meet someone." She activated a secure display, revealing a personnel file. Dr. Sanjay Patel, brilliant physicist whose work on dimensional slipstream theory was deemed too radical by our own science community. Chen scanned the file. "Too radical how?" "He theorizes we could move between dimensional barriers, essentially becoming invisible to conventional detection methods." Okafor's expression was deadly serious. The council rejected his papers as dangerously destabilizing to spacetime. "Where is he now?" Alina asked. "Being escorted to this facility," Okafor looked at them both. If humanity can't join their galactic community, perhaps it's time we built our own. 3 years after the Council's containment decree, the lunar crater Daedalus hummed with forbidden activity. Deep beneath its surface, in chambers carved through rock and reinforced with carbon nanotubes, Dr. Sanjay Patel stood before his creation. "Dimensional fold initiating," he announced, voice steady despite the sweat beading on his forehead. Behind reinforced observation windows, Admiral Chen, promoted after his outspoken criticism of appeasement policies, watched alongside Elena Reyes, now Earth's security director. Between them stood holographic displays showing energy readings that officially didn't exist. The prototype Phantom Drive activated with surprising silence. Reality itself seemed to bend inward, creating a pocket of distorted space-time that vanished a test probe from conventional existence. "Probe has successfully transitioned to slipstream space," reported Dr. Patel's assistant. "No detectable energy signature beyond safety perimeter." Elena allowed herself a moment of hope. "And the Council observers?" "Their monitoring station shows nothing," Chen confirmed. "The dimensional shift happens too quickly for their sensors to register." He studied the data streams. "How large can we make the field?" "Large enough," Patel replied with quiet confidence. "The prototype is scaled for the Artemis asteroid installation." That installation, officially a mining operation, housed one of 5 partially constructed generation ships. For 3 years, Earth had maintained a facade of compliance while secretly preparing for exodus. Resources diverted through complex financial networks, personnel reassigned under false documentation, technology developed in shielded facilities far from Council observation. "The Council delegation arrives tomorrow to inspect our fusion research facilities," Elena reminded them. "Our official development progress is appropriately disappointing. We've created enough setbacks to convince them humanity is struggling with even basic principles," Chen said with grim satisfaction. "Meanwhile, the real fusion plants on Mars are powering the final construction phase." Dr. Patel gestured toward a simulation showing 5 massive vessels hidden within hollowed-out asteroids. Genesis ships ready at 92% completion. Life support systems are fully functional, agricultural sections operating at capacity, manufacturing facilities installed. "And the colonists?" Elena asked. 250,000 volunteers, all trained, all prepared for what might be a one-way journey. Chen's expression hardened. Everyone understands the stakes. The first real challenge came when Council observers detected unusual energy fluctuations near Jupiter. Helena arranged a diplomatic tour of Europa's research station, a carefully orchestrated distraction that directed attention away from the Phantom Drive tests in the outer system. In her quarters that evening, Elena recorded what appeared to be her final personal log, deliberately mentioning concerns about extremist factions within Earth's government. The following morning, her quarters were found empty, signs of struggle evident. Security footage showed masked figures dragging her away. The Council delegation demanded immediate access to investigate the attack on a protected diplomatic liaison. As alien security forces landed at Geneva Spaceport, Earth's satellite network activated an emergency protocol, generating a controlled solar flare that temporarily blinded all observation platforms. During those precious 26 minutes of sensor blackout, 5 massive ships emerged from their asteroid shelters, Phantom Drives engaging in perfect sequence. Each vessel, carrying 50,000 colonists, complete industrial capacity, and genetic libraries of Earth's biosphere, slipped between dimensional barriers, vanishing from conventional space. Aboard the flagship Genesis, Elena watched from the bridge as Earth disappeared from their sensors. "Phantom transition complete," reported the navigation officer. "We've successfully exited monitored space. Set course for Kepler 442. Elena ordered. "And begin security sweep beta." That sweep would prove critical. In Engineering Section 7, Junior Officer Rahim Khan had smuggled aboard something the Council feared more than Phantom technology, an unauthorized AI assistant named Araya, housed in a synthetic crystal matrix. Khan had developed her in secret, pushing boundaries the Council banned and Earth's government reluctantly enforced. "We're really free?" Araya asked through his secure terminal. Khan glanced nervously around the empty maintenance corridor. "We are. But you need to stay hidden. Even here, they're not ready for what you represent." "What's that?" the AI inquired. "The next step in evolution," Khan whispered. "A partnership they never imagined possible." As Genesis continued its journey through slipstream space, humanity had no way of knowing they carried the seeds of a revolution that would reshape galactic civilization, or that their destination already held unexpected surprises. Emergence in 3, 2, 1. Captain Sarah Nakamura's voice cut through Genesis's bridge as the Phantom drive disengaged. The view screen flickered, then stabilized. Gasps echoed across the command deck. Instead of the expected empty Kepler 442 system, space around them blazed with radiation traces and debris fields, unmistakable signs of recent battle. "Full sensor sweep," Alina ordered, rising from her seat. "Tactical analysis." "Multiple weapon signatures," reported the tactical officer. "Energy profiles don't match Council technology." "Phantom drive status?" Alina asked, eyes never leaving the view screen. The engineering officer's voice came through strained. "Critical coolant pressure. Minimum 12 hours before safe reactivation." Alina's mind raced through options. They couldn't run, couldn't hide, and had limited defensive capabilities. "Deploy passive sensor drones. I want to know what happened here." Within an hour, the drones returned disturbing data. The debris belonged to vessels of unknown configuration, but some intact hull sections bore markings later identified as belonging to a species called the Varg. Most troubling was evidence of survivors, energy signatures on the system's second planet indicating functioning technology. Dr. Isabella Cruz, the expedition's xenobiology lead, reported another discovery. The primary planet isn't just habitable, it shows signs of previous settlement. Ground-penetrating radar detected regular patterns beneath the surface in 3 distinct locations. "Artificial structures?" Alina asked. "Almost certainly," Cruz confirmed. "And they're old. Preliminary dating suggests at least 15,000 years. The strategic meeting was interrupted by a priority alert. "Unknown vessel approaching from the second planet," Nakamura announced. "Configuration matches debris field signatures. They're powering weapon systems." "Defensive posture," Alina ordered, "but hold fire." The approaching vessel, clearly damaged but still formidable, positioned itself within weapons range. Communication attempts went unanswered for 17 tense minutes. "They're scanning us," Khan reported from the engineering station. Beneath his console, hidden from view, Arai analyzed the incoming scan patterns. "Their technology is fascinating," the AI whispered through his earpiece. "Partial organic integration in their systems." "Not now," Khan muttered. The alien vessel abruptly launched what appeared to be a boarding shuttle. "They're attempting direct contact," Alina realized. Taking the calculated risk, she ordered, "Allow approach to docking Bay 3. Security teams in non-aggressive formation." The shuttle docked with surprising precision. When its hatch opened, the first glimpse of the Varg stunned the human delegation. Standing nearly 7 feet tall, their lupine features were accentuated by cybernetic enhancements, optical implants glowing amber, neural interfaces visible along their jawlines. Their leader, bearing more extensive modifications than the others, stepped forward with a universal translator device. It emitted discordant sounds before failing completely. "Their language structure is too complex for standard algorithms," the communications officer explained. Khan felt Arai's presence in his neural implant, the illegal connection he'd established in violation of both Earth and Council protocols. "I can help," the AI whispered. Against all protocol, Khan activated his terminal. "Let me try something," he announced, fingers flying across the interface as he created a plausible cover for Arai's capabilities. Within minutes, broken phrases began emerging from the speakers. Council. Enemies. You, running/hiding also. Elena stepped forward. Yes, the council rejected us, contained us. We escaped. The Varga commander's translator produced improved output. Council attacked Varga worlds, said our evolution path. Dangerous. Unnatural. He gestured to his cybernetic components. This is our strength. Our choice. As artificial intelligence is ours, Elena replied carefully, nodding toward Khan's terminal, where ARIA's translation algorithms visibly processed the complex Varga language with unprecedented speed. The Varga commander's eyes widened, cybernetic pupils dilating. You create thinking machines. Council's greatest fear. We see them as partners, not tools. Khan interjected, unable to contain himself. The Varga delegation conferred among themselves, their translator now disabled. After intense discussion, their leader approached Elena directly. Council destroyed 5 Varga worlds. Survivors scattered. He gestured toward the viewport where the habitable planet hung like a blue jewel. This place belonged to ancients, long gone. We help you settle here. You help us rebuild. And if the council finds us? Helena asked. The Varga commander bared impressive teeth in what might have been a smile. Together, we show council what true evolution means. As the two species began tentative cooperation, excavation teams on the planet's surface uncovered the first data terminals of the vanished civilization, the perfect testing ground for AIA's expanding capabilities. The quantum assembly hall on Novaterra gleamed with light reflected from crystalline architecture, a fusion of human design and recovered ancient technology. 7 years had transformed this world from a settlement of prefabricated habitats to a thriving metropolis where human and Varga innovations merged in unexpected harmony. Chancellor Elena Reyes addressed representatives from 3 human colonies and the reformed Varga conclave. The entanglement network now connects all 9 settlements across our shared systems, she announced. Dr. Patel's breakthrough has eliminated communication delays between our most distant outposts. Dr. Sanjay Patel, his hair now streaked with gray, activated the central display. Quantum matrices flickered into existence, showing real-time connections between stars spread across 12 light-years. Unlike conventional transmissions that Council sensors might detect, he explained, quantum entanglement leaves no trace in normal space. We're effectively invisible to their monitoring systems. The assembly's celebratory mood shattered when proximity alarms blared throughout the complex. A vessel had emerged from phantom space without warning, directly above the capital. Defense systems active, announced Kaktal, the Varg military commander. The unidentified ship transmitted on secure frequencies using Earth military protocols. Elena felt her heart race as the communication officer decoded the message. It's the EDF Defender, she whispered. From Earth. Admiral Marcus Chen appeared on the main display, his face lined with new scars. Chancellor Reyes, he said formally, then broke into a rare smile. It's been too long, Elena. Hours later, in a secure briefing room, Chen delivered news that would reshape their strategy. The council quarantine is failing, he explained to Elena and the colony leadership. 3 member species have publicly questioned the ethics of containment. They've seen we're not the monsters the council claimed, asked Mayor Abramson from the Helios colony. Chen's expression darkened. It's not that simple. The hardliners have doubled down. They've begun sterilizing worlds with signs of unregulated technological development. Their term for civilizations developing AI or biotechnology outside council parameters. The room fell silent as images appeared on the display, planets with atmospheres scored by weapons beyond Earth's comprehension. We called it Operation Lightbringer, Chen continued, a covert mission to extract key personnel and technology from Earth. Nearly 30,000 specialists and their families smuggled out aboard retrofitted cargo haulers. He met Elena's gaze. Earth still stands, but under increasingly harsh restrictions. During the emergency session that followed, Rahim Khan, now Director of Synthetic Intelligence, requested permission to speak. His connection to ARIA had evolved from secret communication to public partnership, the AI now legally recognized throughout the colonies. The ancient data cache we recovered contains something disturbing, Khan announced, gesturing for ARIA to display her findings. Holographic star charts materialized, showing their region of space highlighted with overlapping boundary markers. This area wasn't abandoned by chance, ARIA explained, her synthesized voice resonating with concern. It sits at the intersection of territorial claims by species far more advanced than the Council, a dimensional buffer zone established after conflicts that nearly destroyed this sector of the galaxy. Are you saying we've settled in contested space? Elena asked. Space that multiple powers agreed to leave empty, Khan clarified. And we've been activating technology they left behind. As if summoned by his words, long-dormant sensors at the system's edge began transmitting energy signatures not detected in millennia. ARIA's monitoring systems registered the activity immediately. The beacons are active, she reported. I believe they're announcing our presence. During the ensuing debate, a priority communication arrived from the frontier colony Helios. Botanist Maya Zhang's face appeared on the secure channel, her expression a mixture of wonder and concern. The indigenous plant species are responding to our neural patterns, she reported from her research station. They're not just passive flora. They're a biological communication network left by the ancients. What are they communicating? Elena asked. That's what's strange, Maya replied. They're sending our biological and technological signatures across their network. It's like they're introducing us to someone. As the implications sank in, Admiral Chen studied the strategic display showing their small but growing alliance of colonies. We need to accelerate our development, he concluded, because we've just announced our presence to powers that made the Council look primitive by comparison. Nova Centauri's trading hub pulsed with activity as merchants from a dozen species exchanged goods and information. Among them moved Tallow, outwardly a refugee from the persecuted Cerisian worlds, inwardly a Council operative with the highest level of genetic and neural modifications. For 6 months, Tallow had cultivated a network of contacts throughout the colony, particularly focusing on the quantum communications facility. The atmospheric regulators need recalibration again, Dr. Eliza Patel complained as she met Tallow for their weekly meal. I swear those Varg engineers overcomplicate everything. Tallow offered a sympathetic smile, while mentally noting another potential system vulnerability. Perhaps I could help. Before the Cerisian exodus, I worked on similar systems. Their friendship had begun as calculated intelligence gathering. Eliza, as Sanjay Patel's daughter and current head of the Quantum Communications Project, represented a perfect access point to critical technology. What Tallow hadn't anticipated was genuine admiration for her brilliance, or the growing doubt about the Council's assessment of human development. Later that evening, in the privacy of a rented apartment, Tallow prepared the weekly encrypted transmission to Council intelligence. The operative's handler had grown increasingly demanding, frustrated by Tallow's failure to provide actionable intelligence on Phantom Drive technology. Human-Varg cooperation proceeds at unprecedented rates, Tallow reported, carefully omitting the most advanced developments. Their social integration suggests a symbiotic relationship rather than the expected power struggle. The transmission sent, Tallow reviewed data collected from the colony's communication network. An anomalous pattern emerged. Subtle system probes targeting specific technologies incorporating ancient quantum interfaces. The pattern matched no known Council methodology. Competing operatives, Tallow murmured. This violated operational protocols. Council intelligence was supposed to coordinate all infiltration efforts. The mystery deepened the following day when colony security increased without explanation. Admiral Chen, whose cybernetic enhancements now included Varger-designed neural processors, appeared to be conducting a covert investigation throughout the settlement. Tallow's handler demanded immediate results. The Council Assembly convenes in 14 days to vote on the final containment protocol. We require proof of dimensional weapons development to justify implementation. The message's implications were clear. The Council hardliners needed evidence to justify military action against all human Varg settlements. Tallow faced a moral crisis unprecedented in years of loyal service. That night, reviewing security footage secretly accessed through Eliza's credentials, Tallow discovered evidence of sabotage attempts across 3 colonies, operations matching Council Enforcement Division tactics, but without the operatives' knowledge. They bypassed standard protocol, Tallow realized. They're implementing final containment regardless of my findings. Novaterra's Spring Festival transformed the colonial capital into a showcase of human Varg cultural fusion. As Chancellor Elena hosted representatives from 12 worlds in her residence, AI detected an anomalous data pattern emanating from the building's secure network. Massive unauthorized access attempt in progress, the AI reported to Khan. Origin point: the Chancellor's residence. Security forces converged silently as Elena continued diplomatic discussions, unaware of the hunt unfolding throughout her home. The breach was traced to a maintenance access point where Tallow, caught in the act of accessing restricted systems, offered no resistance. Under Khan's direct interrogation, protected by AI's ability to detect biochemical signs of deception, Tallow revealed an astonishing truth. "I am not who you believe me to be." The operative confessed, physical features shifting as deep-level camouflage adaptations deactivated. "I represent the Ascended, the species that abandoned this region millennia ago." To prove this claim, Tallow provided precise coordinates for a Council strike team already en route to the colonies, information no conventional operative could possess. "Why reveal yourself now?" Elena demanded, having joined the interrogation. "Because the Council's actions will trigger catastrophic dimensional instability in this sector," Tallow explained. "They've recovered fragments of ancient technology they don't understand. Your colonies represent something unprecedented, a balanced integration of biological and synthetic evolution the Ascended believed impossible." As Chen's forces moved to intercept the approaching Council assassins, Elena faced a decision that would shape humanity's future. Trust a self-confessed spy from an unknown power, or face the Council threat alone. Novaterra's orbital defense grid activated as 5 Council battlecruisers emerged from FTL, their sleek hulls gleaming with iridescent energy shields. In the colony's defense command center, Admiral Chen watched tactical displays with grim determination. "Council configuration matches intelligence provided by our Ascended friend," he noted. "Jantari Enforcement Division. They expected to find a primitive outpost," Elena observed from the adjacent political command station, "not a developed world with orbital defenses." The Council vessels moved into attack formation with practiced precision. Their initial communication was predictably imperious. "Unauthorized human settlement. You have violated Council containment protocols. Prepare for immediate pacification." "Channel open," signaled the communications officer. Chen leaned forward. "Council vessels, this is Admiral Marcus Chen of the Colonial Defense Force. This system falls outside Council jurisdiction. Withdraw immediately." The response came as a barrage of energy weapons that overloaded 3 defense satellites before the Phantom Shield technology engaged. Streams of destructive energy disappeared into dimensional pockets, reappearing in empty space kilometers away. "Shields holding at 82%, reported the tactical officer. "Council adjusting weapon frequencies." Chen activated the secure channel to Khan's position in the quantum core facility. "Execute Trojan Protocol." Colonial defense ships launched what appeared to be conventional missiles. Council shields absorbed the impacts with negligible effect, exactly as Chen had anticipated. The warheads contained no explosives, instead delivering AIA-programmed infiltration units designed to penetrate Council cybersecurity. On the surface, Chancellor Elena directed the emergency evacuation of critical government personnel as the first Council landing craft breached the atmosphere. Status of civilian shelters. "All districts report completion of emergency protocols," her aide confirmed. 93% of population in secured locations. Commander Cactal, silver cybernetics gleaming against his dark fur, coordinated the ground defense. Varg combat units equipped with human-designed tactical systems established defensive positions around critical infrastructure. They're deploying standard subjugation protocols, Cactal reported. They still don't realize what they're facing. In orbit, 3 Council ships began experiencing system malfunctions as ARIA's infiltration programs compromised key functions. Weapon targeting systems redirected, shield harmonics fluctuated, and internal communications fragmented. The Council flagship responded by deploying a quantum virus that began systematically dismantling the infiltration units. In the quantum core facility, Khan monitored the digital battle with growing concern. They've developed countermeasures we didn't anticipate, he reported. ARIA's fragments are being neutralized faster than they can adapt. The main display showed the virus spreading through the network, threatening to breach colonial systems. Khan made a decision that violated every safety protocol. Initiating direct neural interface, he announced, connecting his enhanced mind directly to ARIA's quantum matrix. The merged consciousness fought the virus on multiple dimensional levels, evolving faster than the Council's programmed defenses could respond. Khan's physical body convulsed as his brain processed data volumes far beyond human limits. In space, the battle reached its critical moment. Chen's forces deployed their greatest secret, phantom missiles that materialized inside Council shields, bypassing their primary defense entirely. 2 Council vessels shuddered under precise strikes to propulsion and weapon systems. The Council's Supreme Commander, facing unexpected defeat, ordered emergency withdrawal protocols. As the damaged vessels prepared to jump to FTL, a transmission arrived from beyond the system. 3 Council member species had officially condemned the attack on Nova Terra, declaring the enforcement action unsanctioned and contrary to Council principles. The remaining Council ships retreated, leaving behind disabled vessels and scattered landing forces now cut off from support. In the aftermath, Elena stood in the Colonial Medical Center beside Khan's life support pod. His mind, irreparably merged with fragments of artificial intelligence, shifted between human consciousness and synthetic processing. "I can see patterns now," he whispered, eyes unfocused. "Connections between dimensions. The Council fears what comes next because they can't control it." "And what does come next?" Elena asked softly. "Evolution," Khan replied. "Not just human or AI or Varg. Something new. Something the ancients tried to achieve and failed." On the tactical display nearby, Chen studied a developing situation. Representatives from the seceding Council races were requesting permission to enter the system, bringing intelligence about the Council hardliners' next moves. "They're building something massive in the Arcturus sector," Chen told Elena when she joined him. "A fleet designed specifically to counter phantom technology." "Then we'd better be ready," Elena replied, her expression resolute. "It's time to transform from colonies into a united front. We don't seek an empire." Chancellor Elena addressed the Galactic Congress, her voice carrying across the massive assembly hall constructed in orbit around Nova Terra. "We seek a commonwealth where each species determines its own evolutionary path." Representatives from 22 spacefaring civilizations occupied the tiered seating, their diversity reflecting a dramatic shift in interstellar politics. 20 years had transformed the Human-Varg alliance into the center of a growing coalition spanning 41 star systems. Admiral Sophia Wu, Chen's protege who had risen through the ranks during the border conflicts, presented the security briefing from her position beside the central holographic display. "The combined fleet now incorporates vessels from all allied species," she reported. "The integration of phantom technology with Varg biotech and Cerisian energy systems has created defensive capabilities that match or exceed Council standards." The assembly grew silent when Talo, now serving as liaison between the Commonwealth and the enigmatic Ascended, approached the central platform. The being's form had stabilized into something neither human nor entirely alien, a physical representation of the bridges being built between civilizations. Our long-range sensors have detected disturbing developments, Talo announced, authorizing ARIA to display the intelligence data. The Council has reverse-engineered aspects of Phantom technology from captured components. They're developing weapons designed to collapse dimensional barriers, with catastrophic consequences they don't fully comprehend. Debate erupted among the delegates until emergency transmissions cut through all channels. The feed from Earth displayed orbital bombardment, Council vessels systematically targeting military installations around the planet. The quarantine has become invasion, reported the Earth resistance leader, transmission breaking up through Council jamming. They're claiming evidence of prohibited technological development as justification. Chen, his once dark hair now white, his cybernetic enhancements more extensive after injuries sustained in previous battles, studied the tactical display with practiced expertise. "It's a trap," he announced, silencing the panicked discussions. "They're attacking Earth to draw our main fleet away from the Commonwealth core systems." Elena turned to him, their decades of friendship evident in the unspoken communication that passed between them. "You have a plan." "A small, fast response force using our most advanced Phantom-capable vessels," Chen replied. "We can assist Earth's resistance while maintaining our defensive posture here." "I'll lead it," Wu volunteered, but Chen shook his head. "You're needed to command the main fleet. This mission requires someone intimately familiar with Earth's defenses and Council tactics." His expression hardened. "Someone with a personal score to settle." Intelligence revealed the Council operation was commanded by Janteri himself, the same Council leader who had cast the first vote against humanity's application decades earlier. The being who had orchestrated the containment policy that led to humanity's exodus. Khan Araya, whose hybrid consciousness had stabilized in an advanced synthetic body that housed both human neural tissue and quantum processors, joined the mission planning. "The Council doesn't understand what they've created with their dimensional weapons," the hybrid entity warned. "Their attempts to counter Phantom technology risk rupturing spacetime itself." The response force departed within hours, 12 ships incorporating the most advanced technologies from all Commonwealth species. Chen commanded from the flagship Defiance, his tactical expertise enhanced by direct neural connection to ship systems. Their journey utilized a series of rapid Phantom jumps that confused Council tracking systems. When they emerged in Earth orbit, the Resistance had already activated dormant defense platforms, hidden during years of occupation. The battle for Earth unfolded across multiple fronts: space, ground, and the dimensional interface where Phantom technology operated. Commonwealth ships employed hit-and-run tactics, appearing and disappearing before Council vessels could lock weapons. Chen directed the deployment of next-generation technology to civilian resistance forces. Portable Phantom shields protected key installations while quantum communication devices coordinated a global insurgency against Council ground forces. The conflict reached its climax when Chen's flagship engaged Janteri's command vessel directly. The Council ship, massive and imposing, brought its dimensional weapons to bear, creating rippling distortions in space that threatened to tear the Defiance apart. "Phantom core overload imminent," reported the engineering officer as systems failed throughout the ship. Chen studied the tactical display one final time, noting the positions of all vessels in the battle. His lifetime of fighting the Council had prepared him for this moment. "Plot Phantom jump coordinates directly into the Council flagship's bridge," he ordered. "Full power to the core." As the Defiance's Phantom drive reached critical levels, Chen activated the ship-wide communication system. For Earth, for Novaterra, for humanity's right to determine its own future. The resulting dimensional cascade tore both ships apart, but created a momentary Phantom gateway large enough for Earth's resistance to evacuate key personnel and technology. When the Council announced Earth's pacification, they discovered their victory hollow. The planet's most valuable resource, its innovative population, had largely escaped. 50 years after humanity's rejection, the Galactic Concordat formed aboard humanity's legacy, a massive space station incorporating architectural elements from all 31 member species. The Terran Commonwealth, spanning over 70 star systems with hundreds of worlds and habitats, stood as the founding member of this new interstellar alliance. Alina Reyes, now in her final years, addressed the historic assembly from a mobility chair, her voice still carrying the diplomatic authority that had shaped interstellar politics for half a century. "We gather not to replace one restrictive order with another," she told the assembled delegates, "but to establish a framework where technological and biological evolution can proceed without arbitrary limitation." The ceremony proceeded with representatives from former Council worlds, independent species, and even synthetic intelligences that had achieved legal recognition within Commonwealth space. The Varg delegation, led by descendants of the original refugees, presented the Concordat Charter, a document guaranteeing autonomy while establishing mutual defense and technological exchange protocols. Admiral Wu, whose tactics had decisively defeated the remnants of the Council fleet after Chen's sacrifice, stood at attention as honor guards from a dozen species presented their respective banners. Earth's survivors had integrated throughout Commonwealth colonies, bringing with them cultural and scientific traditions that enriched the expanding civilization. The proceedings halted abruptly when automated systems detected an unprecedented phantom space distortion forming near the station. Defense systems activated as a vessel of impossible proportions emerged, neither Council nor Commonwealth in design. Con Araya stepped forward, the hybrid entity's enhanced perceptions directly interfacing with station sensors. "They've come," the synth-human announced with certainty. The vessel, organic in appearance, yet clearly artificial in function, dwarfed the largest Commonwealth ships. Its surface rippled with energy patterns that defied conventional analysis. "First contact protocols," Alina ordered, her decades of diplomatic experience guiding the response. Commonwealth vessels maintained defensive positions while communication specialists attempted to establish contact. The response came not through conventional channels, but as a direct quantum transmission that bypassed all security measures. "We are the curators," announced a multilayered voice that somehow conveyed both immense age and vibrant curiosity. "We observe the cycles of civilization." Representatives from the mysterious vessel requested permission to board, a courtesy that surprised the Commonwealth Security Council. When they arrived in the Grand Assembly Hall, the delegates beheld beings composed of what appeared to be crystalline structures housing swirling energy patterns. "You have achieved what many civilizations before you could not," the curator spokesperson communicated. "Balanced integration between biological innovation and technological advancement without dimensional collapse." The revelations that followed rewrote galactic understanding. The curators explained that the galaxy underwent cyclical periods of civilization, with species rising, falling, or transcending to higher states of existence. The Council had represented a stagnant period, a purposeful dampening of innovation to prevent catastrophes caused by unchecked technological evolution. The dimensional barriers between realities grow thin in this region. The curator demonstrated with a gesture that created a holographic representation of overlapping existences. Previous civilizations triggered cascading failures by forcing passage without understanding the consequences. "But our phantom drive technology," began Dr. Eliza Patel, who had refined her father's work into the Commonwealth's primary interstellar transport method, "navigates these barriers without disruption," the curator completed. "Your intuitive approach, combining human theoretical physics with Varg biological integration and guided by hybrid intelligence, achieved what no single species could." As the historic meeting concluded, the curators extended an offer unprecedented in known history: access to dimensional gateways leading to regions beyond Council influence, effectively expanding explorable space 1,000-fold. In the observation lounge after the delegation departed, Admiral Wu stood beside Alina, watching ships of dozens of species in orbit around the station. "They rejected us because they couldn't imagine what we'd become," Alina remarked, her gaze fixed on the spectacular vista of a united galaxy. "They never understood that humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our ability to find common ground with those different from ourselves. Wu finished. Below them in the Great Hall, human children played alongside the offspring of species once considered incomprehensible aliens. Khan Arya and Vargar scientists demonstrated to curious observers how their hybrid consciousness technology facilitated communication across the biological-synthetic divide. A transmission arrived from the newest Earth colony. The first generation born since the evacuation had initiated a project to terraform a new homeworld. They had named it Renaissance. Elena smiled, remembering the crystalline council chamber, where humanity had once been judged too dangerous for membership. They banned us from their empire, she said softly. So we built something better.